You know, I've always believed that if you want to be successful, you have to emulate what successful people do. So over the years, I've had a chance to meet many multimillionaires, even billionaires. And when I do, I always have two questions for them. How did you make your money? But then more importantly, once you made it, where did you put it? In today's video, I'm going to show you where multimillionaires stash their cash. Because if we can emulate them, we might just get where they're at.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. Yeah, it's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Well, today we're talking about where millionaires stash their cash. Like, they've made all this money, where the crap are they putting it? Is it making them more money? Is it sitting literally underground, buried somewhere?
When you can safely and securely bury your money in the ground.
Is it like right over here, Swiss bank account, right? I know you're all thinking the Swiss do bank accounts really, really good.
I'm curious about your bank secrecy laws here.
I mean, hey, Donald Trump hasn't paid taxes in a really long time. Actually, millionaires are probably a lot more boring than you might be thinking. There are 4 things very specifically that they do with their money, that I and my buddies do with our money. And so today I'm going to break it all down. So the reality is, when you've made a lot of money, millionaires are going to have some of that money available ultra short term, like I'm going to grab that today because I can turn that into more money, or I want to buy something. Then there's midterm holds. There's, hey, I'm going to put my money here for months or for years at a time, but I'm expecting it to come back pretty quickly. And then they also have their long-term plays, like, hey, it might sit here for 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years because it's going to erupt into the next level of my empire. So let's talk about immediate money. The reality is multimillionaires, they have generally CFOs. These are super smart accountants, if you will, that really understand money from all perspectives, especially the tax implications. Because you know what? Once you make a pile of money, Uncle Sam, he wants up to 40% of that federally. Then you've got a big chunk going stateside. No one wants to make $1 and have to give 50% to the government. I mean, the Boston Tea Party literally started over a 2% tax. 50% is really out of hand. So they're looking for every possible loophole. They get financial experts to come into their life, and that starts with, hey, I need some of my money immediately accessible. You know what we do? We put it in checking accounts, we put it in savings accounts, but our balances tend to be a lot higher and we tend to have a lot more accounts. In fact, for every type of business entity that I have, for my real estate holding tanks, for my core business, my parent companies, I've got a different bank account for every one of these. Because just like every business should have its own set of books, it also has its own bank account. Helps us keep our money organized and know that, oh, I have this much money in this bank account because that business was responsible for making it, and they're just going to keep that in the bank. The second thing I want to share with you is where millionaires place their midterm money. This money is less accessible, but it has some bigger upsides. So after I made my first couple $1 million, I started making a lot more friends with millionaires, and I noticed that they weren't just putting their short-term cash in the bank account. They had a different type of banking system that they used with some really cool perks and benefits. And it had a really funny word for it. It was called insurance. There's a type of whole life insurance where you can literally put your money into it like a bank account and pull it right back out to invest with. And there's some core benefits, but check out how this works. It's kind of cool. Whole life insurance provides coverage for the life of the insured. In addition to paying a death benefit, whole life insurance also contains a savings component in which cash value may accumulate. In other words, they're not just buying it because when they die, they want to have like a $20 million or $50 million death benefit. They're doing it because life insurance has a living benefit. And here's the way it works. The rich person takes a pile of money and then they put it into the insurance company. Some of that goes towards their death benefit if something crazy were to happen, or they die prematurely, or when they die when they're old. But a lot of that money actually builds cash value, which means it's like a bank account. But you see, different than a normal bank account with like a savings account that's going to give you like 0.01% growth. Check this one out. The first of the 5 benefits of life insurance, it's got a 4% guaranteed annual return. I like that. If my money's going to sit and I want to be able to access it, I want to know that it's not just sitting in a normal bank account earning 0.0 nothing percent. I'm getting 4%. And then I get another 1, 2, or 3% in annual dividends. So you combine that and it's like, okay, I'm making 5, 6, or 7%. I'm outpacing inflation. But here's the kicker. It's tax-free growth. I don't get that at my normal bank account. It's also borrowable. What I put in, I can take out for my business, for my real estate, for my other investments. And then of course, I do like the fact that if something crazy were to happen, there's a really big juicy death benefit that's gonna go to my family. By the way, this is not just for the wealthy. When I learned this, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should set one of those up. And I've set up several life insurance bank accounts where I've got over $1 million that's just sitting there producing 6% on average. And it's just doing nothing. I could access it. Sometimes I use it for other investments, but it's more of a midterm saving strategy with cooler perks than a typical bank. By the way, me and my buddies, there's actually a special company we like to use for setting up our bank accounts, and they set them up for free for us. If you click the link below, you can actually see how to do that. And if you want to be a multimillionaire, you might as well start acting like one. My man, Warren Buffett, how you doing, my friend?
You know, I can't answer it with 100% precision.
Yeah. So Warren Buffett, literally one of the wealthiest person of all times. He's a good one to take advice from. I've never met him, but I will tell you, I think we all know what he does with his money. The third play is another midterm investment strategy. Do they put their money in business? Because business produces super high ROI. No, I am not talking about the S&P 500, the 500 most successful publicly traded companies. I'm not talking about investing in the stock market. Rich people don't do that. They don't go after all that single digit ROI 401k IRA garbage the way poor people do, or like people that aren't poor, but they're definitely not rich. There's a word for that. What they're doing is they're reinvesting in their own business. Part of how they became a multimillionaire, it's one of two things. It's either business or it's real estate. So in this case, if it's business, they know what kind of ROI they can get by reinvesting. They can sometimes do things to double their company size. And there's nowhere else they can put their money to do that kind of return. So often they're going to reinvest back into their business. But there's one other thing they'll do. Just like Warren, they'll actually go and buy businesses. They basically know how to read a company's financials. They can look at the P&Ls. I can look at a set of books and in a matter of minutes, automatically know if it's a company that I do or do not want to have ownership in. And so if you can find a company that has a great track record of producing a 20 or 30% cash on cash, has a really high EBITDA, has a chance to actually make you a ton of money in a short period of time, dude, we'll go and throw our money down in another business because we want our money to rotate. So I was in the airport sitting next to this Indian man and we got having this conversation and he explained what the word wealth meant in his language. He says, wealth means that which rotates. And if I know anything about millionaires, if they're a true millionaire, which means they didn't get there by luck, then their money over time continues to multiply, and it's because they rotate it. So they're gonna rotate it through business, the business is gonna make them money, then they're gonna go buy more businesses, and then they're gonna rotate it. And that's what wealthy people do. That's how they got rich in the first place, is they know how to rotate money to build more wealth. And if you're someone like Buffett, just kind of a cool factoid, like this guy has given away most of his wealth he's ever made in his life, and then he makes it again and he gives it back. This guy's like on a mission to solve world hunger. So a lot of these people, we have our own private foundations because giving back is a really cool thing. Dale Carnegie inspired me when I read his book. He said, I want to take the first half of my life to become a billionaire, and then I want to take the second half of my life to give that billion back. I want to redistribute wealth according to how I think the world will run better and help the people I want to help. That's something that Mr. Buffett does. And the fourth place of where millionaires put their money, they will stash that in what's called long-term real estate. They basically know that over time, real estate has this amazing track record. Over the last 60 years, it grows, appreciates 4.65% year over year over year. It compounds, it produces a cash flow. And you know what? We totally love the tax benefits.
Will you look at those morons? I paid my taxes over a year ago.
Now, I said earlier that you can reinvest in business because you can keep multiplying your money, but real estate has that cool same feature. Check this out. You buy a property, and then with time it goes up. If you bought it undervalued, if it has a cash flow tax benefits, and you're thinking, man, that made me some good money, I should do that again. The goal is to take the returns from that home and put it into more. And then as you become wealthier, you put it into more. My goal every 5 years is to double my portfolio. So this is how I've gotten to literally thousands of homes over time. And if you think, well, where will that be in 10 years or 20 years? This is going to be a really, really, really big number. And millionaires understand that. Now, people like me became millionaires through the game of real estate. And because that's how I got there, guess what I do with a lot of my money? I put it there. But guess what? I also own businesses and I buy other businesses because ultimately I'm trying to rotate my wealth, create as much of it as possible. You know, frankly, I'm not really even sure how helpful this information has been for you, but I know that it scratches like the curiosity itch. I think the real take-home message though for today's video is that if this is what millionaires are doing with their money, then we should be following their example if we want to have what they want to have. And that's just a really important principle in life. You might say, hey, I want to have like a world-class relationship, and someday I'd like to be a relationship coach. The only way you're going to have the best relationship is if you find the best minds that have dedicated their whole life to relationships, and you need to study them. So I've had a lot of joy over the years of studying people for the benefits of personal health or the benefits of people for relationships or how to be a good dad. But I've also done the same game on money, and for some reason, it's not really something we do. But you can imagine I'm friends with a lot of really financially successful people. People have made a lot of money. And I'll share one last bonus for you of what they all share in common. They've all mastered to some extent the game of money. The things that I'm sharing, they could watch this video and be like, wow, Kris, you pegged me, man. That's more or less what I do with my money. They may do it in different and varying degrees, but for the most part, this is actually what we share in common. So if you want those results, you should emulate those results. If you click in the link below, I can show you how to make money in business. I can show you how to crush it in the game of real estate. I can help you steer you to the people that can help set up your life insurance bank accounts. If you'd like a free consultation on like, all right, like, okay, Kris, if you were to put yourself in my shoes and I wanted to become a multimillionaire and then I could stash my money and grow it the way multimillionaires do, like what would you do if you were me? And no matter what situation you're in, if you're kind of curious what that advice might look like, because it usually changes from person to person once I get to know you or once my team does, I'll share with you step by step what I would do if I were you. Just click the link below, we'll get you that free consultation, and hopefully that can help you on your wealth journey of awakening that financial genius and this year taking your next step towards multimillionaire status. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope it delivered a couple of nuggets for you. If you're not a subscriber, you're gonna wanna do that because every video I post is about awakening your financial genius and showing you how to financially kill it in life so that you can live the most meaningful life possible. By the way, on top of that, if you actually wanna see how I became a multimillionaire in just 4.5 years, click this video right over here and I will actually demonstrate for you step by step exactly what I did to achieve that at such a young age.
I love it. Oh, yeah.